Okay, we're live. We're live. G'day, guys. Quick message on words. Be careful what you say. The sacred text says in Proverbs chapter 6, My son, if you become surety for your friend, that means if you make promises, if you have shaken hands in a pledge for a stranger, that means somebody that's not of your family DNA, whether they're a friend or not, you are snared by the words of your mouth. So we can be snared by the things that we promise. Sometimes we promise things that we ought not to promise. And even the good Lord himself, the Messiah, Jesus, said, don't make vows. You're better off leaving all that alone. Don't make promises that you may not be able to keep, because you'll become snared by your words. When we don't keep our word, it's personally consequential. There's consequences that come upon us when we get a Cooper, and that is ABS Roofing, Victoria. Give Cooper a call, or just message him if you can. But our words can snare us. You are taken by the words of your mouth. When we speak, there's power in our words. The scripture says, the sacred ancient texts say, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So when we speak, we have to be committed to what we say. Idle speech means nothing. Idle speech is just disempowering ourselves and empowering the words that we say. We are the prophet of our own lives. What we say is either going to be something that will grow us or hound us. That's just how it works. Our words are so vital. Our words are so important. Cooper, put up the business and your phone number, mate. We can be taken by our words. We can change the course of our life by our words, for positive or negative. And so it says in verse 3 of Proverbs chapter 6, so do this, my son, and deliver yourself from your words, for you have come into the hand of your friend. In other words, you've sold yourself out by the things that you've said. And this is what we do. We say things and promise things that we need not have ought to have done. And when we do that, I don't know, if you've made a commitment you just wish you hadn't made and you weren't able or just didn't have the heart to keep, that's what happens when we say things that we ought not to say, when we make promises that we just not are going to be able to keep. We have all good intention, but our spirit is not behind it, and therefore we become and portray ourselves to be something unfaithful. As someone unfaithful, you can't keep your word. And how many people have we met that just haven't kept their word? To get something, they've kept their word, or to manipulate something out of you. They've said something but never kept their word. They've got their part of the bargain but haven't done their part. They've got from you your part of the bargain but haven't got from you. You're not going to get from them. G'day, shout out to Nigel Anderson. You're not going to get from them their part of the bargain. I've had this with builders. Yeah, you buy the bricks, mate. Rah, 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 rah. The next thing, oh, I'm dying from pancreatic cancer. Oh, I've got my prostate. I've seen, that's why I'm not a big fan of supplying unless you're absolutely sure that the integrity of the builder that you're going to work for will pay you back, and some for doing it. So just be careful of your promises, because sometimes your promises don't fit in with the time that you've got to try and fulfill them. Sometimes we make rash promises that we should not have made. Sometimes at that time it all seems wonderful in your hype. You're in the hype, and then the next thing you're just not going to be able to keep your word, that can snare you. That can take you off path. It disrupts your peace. It disrupts your peace and your calmness. It takes you away from the path that you're supposed to be on. A simple word, a simple promise that you can't keep. And how do you delete that? Well, you've got to say, I'm sorry. I can't live up to what I said, which is humbling. So we know humility is one of the ways of being set free, asking for forgiveness when we can't keep and don't keep our word. So, son, do this, my son, and deliver yourself, the ancient script says, for you have come into the hand of your friend. Go and humble yourself. Plead with your friend. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, and like a bird from the hand of the fowler. So in the spirit realm, when you don't keep your word with somebody, it's like a gazelle being hunted by a hunter, or a bird in the hand of someone that's trapped it. You become trapped, you become snared, you get taken by your words. And I never read this before, but there's a point here about humility. You humble yourself. Go and humble yourself. Well, I said that earlier, but I didn't know it was here. Just hang on. Can you go? Yes, I can. Where's pick up? Yes. So humility. Plead with your friend. Just say, I'm sorry, I couldn't keep my promise. It could be a girlfriend, it could be a relative, it could be anything like that. Knight says, I was baptized as a child, but I'm choosing also to be baptized tomorrow as a 48-year-old man. All the surgeries, all the pain, I give it all to God. Through his stripes, I will be healed. Thank you, Jesus. There's a desperate man. There's a man that's in severe pain. Life's come after his body, and he's returning the healing of his body back to his maker. Now, we'll go and take cars to the mechanic. Bloody, hang on, problems here. We'll go and take, we'll get a bricklayer to fix things. But what about our body? I think God's the best healer. And when Nige says there, through the stripes of Christ I was healed, when Jesus was being whipped, when his body was being carved by the bits of bone and stuff that they used to put on those whips, because it was taking chunks, piercing his skin and then taking chunks of his skin out. When they were doing that to Christ, in the spirit realm, his punishment, the way in which they punished his body, was for our healing. And I have to say, when I was younger, I had what was it? L5S1. 5S1 go on me. And now that's funny. I'm having a few little connection problems here. I went and got I herniated the disc in L5S1, and this kind of led me to the Lord as well, Nige, to be honest. I had come to my end, bit of a long story. Cut a long story short, had an operation. It didn't go all that well. And became a Christian, and then started to believe on the promises that through Jesus' stripes, I will be healed. And somehow or another, years and years later, it plagued me, but years and years later, I fell off a roof, had a terrible fall off a roof. And we've got some technical problems going on here, guys. What the fuck? Give me my video back. There we are. And believe it or not, I went to I got taken to the hospital by my daughter in the back of her car, and lo and behold, what's happening now? Lo and behold, I went into the hospital, and the physiotherapy lady said, "You'll be right. You'll get through this." And I believed her. I believed what she said. And believe it or not, when I fell off that roof, I was lying in the gravel and everything for, I don't know, about 5 weeks straight. I had sciatic straight to my heel. It was horrible. Horrible. And then there was people renting the house in where I lived, and she stabbed the bloke. And I'm lying in the backyard like a lizard on a rock, just in the gravel, trying to find a way out of the pain. And the next thing, there's detectives running all over the yard and this, that, and the other. And I was just lying there like some kind of nitwit. This is true, like an absolute nitwit. And they just said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Well, I got a back problem." And they're trying to find this woman that stabbed the bloke that lived in the house. So to cut a long story short, a miracle took place. Something happened. My back got healed. And it was because of what Nigel's saying here. Nigel, through his stripes, I was healed. I believed and I believed and I believed and I believed. And somehow I got a miracle. So in closing for today, guys, when Jesus was being whipped, his pain, horrible, wretched pain, delivered upon him, opened up a way in the spirit for us to receive healing through him. His pain became our healing. His injuries became our healing. On the left hand, he was injured. On the right hand, we were healed. And it's in past tense in the scriptures. So go and humble yourself to people that you may have promised things to and haven't done. Say sorry to your friend or your partner for promises you haven't kept. Show them that you care. Show them that you're not, just pretending or mucking around. And release yourself from the hunter, like a hunter chasing a gazelle, or like a bird in the hand of the fowler. And you'll find clear air. Little things like this, guys. That's what this is for. Words. This is Nigel Anderson. When I broke my C2 vertebrae in my neck, I prayed and prayed, and my break healed itself through the power of Christ. So Nigel is a pretty determined sort of believer. And God bless you, Nigel, and anybody else there that does believe. Definitely, I have to say, I've had and seen miracles and had them as well. So this is Pro Bricky. Thank you for joining me, guys. Share and like the video. Don't be frightened to. That's pleasure, Nige. That's what this is for. This is to give people a voice. Do you want to come on, Nige? Are you at home on your computer or are you on your laptop? Do you want to share your testimony on here? There's the link. If you want to share your testimony on here now, you can press that link and we'll bring you on. It's up to you, man. You're on your phone. Okay, I'll let you off. I don't think the phone can hook up to this through the computer. So maybe sometime we'll get you on and you can share your testimony, Nige. But for now, this is Pro Bricky. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe to Pro Bricky Exclusive and make sure you're following the Facebook page. It gives us encouragement, and never be frightened to comment. This is Pro Bricky.